Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Xbox. Welcome to episode 34 of the Good Morning Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboom is in the room, and with me this morning is the three of my esteemed co-panel members. Getting it out of the way, Cerebral Paul will not be here this morning. He's a little under the weather and is just finding it hard to wear a headset and things on his head. So he will be in the chat, I understand. I think he's there already. Good morning, Paul. Feel better, my friend. And also Eternal Shaddai misses the third week in a row, still feeling the ill effects of COVID-19. So we wish Shaddai all the best, and hopefully he returns here very, very soon. Let's get this first super chat out of the way because it's from our good friend Doggy Dog 420. Woof woof. $1.99. Happy Sunday and much love, new panel and chat. Well, good morning and happy Sunday to you, Doggy Dog. Let's get some game time in, baby. All right, let's introduce our phenomenal panel. We'll start with the lovely lady at the top of the screen. Cool Cat Terry. What's happening?
Hey, everybody. I hope you're all having a good weekend so far. I'm doing good. Just, been staying pretty busy. Hadn't done any gaming this weekend. Getting the new house set up.
Always a lot of work. A lot of work. All right. He's not setting up house, but it looks like he's been changing things in his house. That is Axel 1324. What's going on, Axel? What you been playing?
Hey, everybody. Good morning. So I've been playing a lot of the Halo 10 Rye event this week. Me and Dreadpool, you could catch us on his stream doing just some shenanigans. You can hear me kind of start raging a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just some Halo Infinite this whole week. So trying to get that KD ratio up, even though it's still not great.
They finally fixed the big team battle anyway, so that's always a bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. All right, a little bit of Halo chat, a little bit of Halo banter throughout the episode for sure today. And finally, last but not least, charming young man down in the corner, it's Scrub Nurse. What's going on, man? What you been playing?
Awesome. I get called a young man. That's hadn't happened in a while.
To me, you're all pretty damn young. I think I'm the oldest fart on the panel. So,
oh yeah, I'm getting there. I've been having some fun playing a little games. Jumped on Call of Duty with a couple of friends of mine, and we did some little mini streaming. I'm about to jump back in all of that. A little Halo, and then that's about it. I want to get back in multiplayer. I'm so glad Big Team Battle is back. That was one of my favorite modes. So we're going to be ready to have some fun.
Indeed. Good stuff indeed. All right, we're going to get into the topics right away. Just a quick shout out to our amazing chat. As always, like I said, Doggy Dog is here this morning. We've got your Wicked Hot hanging out with us. Craig Simmons, what is going on? Good to see you here as well. Casket Repair is in the house. We got Mass Hole here as well. Back from the dead is hanging out with us. Good to see you, sir. HTK 360 is here as well. What's happening, HTK? My good friend Crazy Great Dude is hanging out with us this morning. And I think we've just about caught up with everybody. If I fail to acknowledge you, please let me know in the chat, and I will make sure that I acknowledge your existence here in our podcast. We do our damn best. You guys are awesome. As Axel always says, you guys are the real MVPs, so we don't take that for granted. Dark Zone 2525, what's going on? He's been playing Dying Light 2, as have a lot of people. That is one of our topics here very shortly. We will talk about Dying Light 2 and the zombie genre in general, I guess you could say. And its resurgence or the lack of the fact that it just doesn't seem to go away. So, all right, Scrub Nurse will be right back. Okay, let's community game night. I'll just say that been okay this week. A little bit lower numbers, and I kind of expected with Dying Light 2 being out and half of my friends that seem to be playing that, which is good. Just also goes to show that, yes, Xbox gamers can buy games that are not on Game Pass. Always nice to see. I support the notion. Some people almost refuse to nowadays, but I think, hey, if a game deserves your time and your money and you really want it, go friggin' get it. That's all I can say about that. But yeah, I played a couple little gems last night. We played Rainbow Six Siege. Pretty good time last night with that game. Our doubles in the chat there, and he came out first time playing it, and he actually held his own as I figured he would. Took him a couple of games to get warmed up to the control schemes and the way the game plays compared to other shooters. Very, very much different experience. Very tactical. but we had a good time. And then we tried that Rubber Bandits game. That's a lot of fun. I urge anybody to try it out, especially at home with your family or friends. It's one of those really quick, fun little romps. So cool little game right there. And yes, Terry, I'm going to take your advice here probably today and download Contrast. So now that it's on Game Pass, no excuses.
There you go. So it's good. It's a fantastic game.
It looks really good. I still remember your indie spotlight on that game a couple months back. So, all right, let's get right into the topics, shall we? First one is a bit of a positive note, and certainly long. I wouldn't say long overdue, but well deserved, and that is the man himself. Yes, Xbox CEO. Well, I guess he's not the CEO. Well, he's the Xbox Gaming Division, I guess, head. That is Phil Spencer. He is going to be presented with at the 25th annual DICE Awards. He's going to be getting the Lifetime Achievement Award, and it's going to be presented to him from fellow gaming colleague Todd Howard of Bethesda fame, who is also a good friend and longtime steward of Phil Spencer and Company. So I think it's pretty awesome. Just this year, Phil was named the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. We certainly know he's played a huge role in the resurgence of the Xbox brand. And it's second kick at the cat, so to speak, as they are making certainly a big resurgence in the console space and have certainly restored faith with a lot of Xbox fans that, while they may have taken a bit of a different route, so to speak, they're in a healthy spot right now. They're making some good money. Their numbers are going up. Everything is trending in the right direction. They basically squashed a lot of the narratives that have been out there for the last couple of years, like Xbox got crappy hardware, or Xbox got no games, or Xbox this, Xbox that. And it's funny though, because it seems like every time Xbox comes out and does one of these things really well and squashes those, those sort of narratives, as we say, then all of a sudden a new one pops up and the goalposts keep on moving, So now you hit a lot of this crap around various, and sorry about that. Someone's in the washroom and there's a waterfall next to my head. But it sounds like, you get that, there's that, I guess it's a small, maybe vocal minority that's kind of going, well, Xbox is becoming a freaking monopoly and they're a danger to the gaming ecosystem as a whole. And it's, I just think it's a load of nonsense. Xbox is not there to destroy other businesses. They are there to basically inflate their own numbers. They are there to make good on their investments, and they're obviously going all in with Game Pass. And in order to make Game Pass hugely successful, to warrant spending hundreds of millions of dollars buying games and things to put in there, they got to have the steady revenue and they got to have subscriber numbers. It's pretty simple. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. But anyway, let's talk about Phil Spencer, who's done an amazing job. Perhaps everybody on the panel can weigh in on something that perhaps you really like about Phil Spencer's approach, things that perhaps should stand out to you that you're really happy that Phil is at the helm, or maybe you don't like Phil. I don't know. Not everybody likes Phil, but I think for the most part, he's a pretty damn good guy. So we will start off with Cool Cat Terry, since she's one right next to my shoulder. Cool Cat, how do you feel about Phil getting a huge recognition here?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I read about it a little bit, and I think it said that he's been working with Xbox for 25 years. So he's, that's impressive. So definitely well deserved. He's been there, for at least through the 360 era, up till now. I don't know if he was there for the original or not, but at least
he was there since the beginning. He worked on the Ed Fries at the beginning.
That's amazing. Okay, so then it's definitely well deserved, because I mean, not too many people can say they've been with a company that long, let alone see like the rise of a new brand that was trying to make it themselves in a market that was very competitive, and that they didn't, and that people didn't know if they would succeed or not, because at that time period it was all about Nintendo, and PlayStation already kind of had their foot in the door, doing really well. So it's very impressive. So good on him, for sticking it out and for making some great changes to Xbox. And I love to see what else he has in store for the brand as a whole, because he's doing great things.
Where do you think he's really left his mark, Terry? What stands out to you the most? Something, any particular speech or a conference that he did, perhaps, or just is it the whole picture, like how he's, because he is more than just your average, head honcho. Like he really is like the face of the brand. When most people associate Xbox, that's the first guy they think about. And I don't think anybody in the gaming circle knows his name and his voice. He's pretty much a celebrity for the most part.
For me, the most memorable thing that he's done is during one of the E3s a couple years back when he walked out on stage with Reggie and do you remember the PlayStation guy's name?
Oh yeah,
but they all came out
Yoshida,
together, and it was like this humbling moment. That's like these are like the heads of like these competitive companies, and they're just there.
Layden,
Layden. They're just there, doing their thing, getting along. And it was like this moment where it's like, a big, like open your eyes to the hardcore fanboys that want to keep, acting like everybody's the butt heads all the time. It's like these guys can come out together and, and talk about their stuff. Not everything has to be competition. So I thought that was an amazing moment, at least in the gaming, in gaming history where they all came all together instead of it's always, keep everything separate. So it's fantastic. And for me, the thing that I most know him for, and even though he's been there since the beginning, I think the thing that really put his name on the map for people is probably Game Pass.
Well said. Let's go to Axel, 1324. Axel, how about yourself, man? How do you feel about seeing Big Phil getting the recognition he well deserves? I mean, certainly it's early in his career. When you call it lifetime, and yet the guy is, is probably younger than some of the people on the panels. But yet here he is, up on stage, and you can see, over the years, if you look at the pictures of Phil, you can see his, his physical changing, like all of us, we all change, grayer, older, fatter, whatever. I get dumber. So yeah, how do you feel about that? I think it's and it's pretty cool that Todd Howard's also going to be the one that hands it off to him.
So Phil Spencer just had a birthday, didn't he? Not too long ago. And I believe he turned 54 at that point.
Jesus, is he really that old?
Yeah. And he has been with Microsoft for 34 of his 54 years. So yeah, this is a lifetime achievement award. As a gamer, I think, especially as an Xbox gamer, I believe all of us like Phil Spencer because when times were dire and things were looking not so great, Phil Spencer is the guy that basically saved the platform we love gaming on. He's the one who sold it to Satya, who in turn sold it to the investors, who showed them that gaming was not just profitable and that they should be in gaming, but it made it a core part of their business to the point that they're their own division at this point, right? And so to me, the biggest accomplishment that Phil did is he's done something that no one else has been able to do. And that is to get Xbox to be part of Microsoft, the juggernaut that they are, the behemoth that they are. We've always known that, Microsoft has the bank to really be disruptive if they wanted to. And before Phil, they never wanted to. And now they do. And it just shows you the power of, this is the potential that I, at least since I've been gaming on Xbox, have always wanted to see. This dominance of like, we're doing this because you can't. Cloud gaming. We're doing cloud gaming because, well, literally nobody else can. We're doing Game Pass. The most disruptive thing to come to gaming, and I've been gaming since the 80s, so 40 years. The most disruptive thing to come to gaming in 40 years. They're changing the market for the better, I believe. So, and once again, Xbox is doing it because nobody else can. And this is what we've always wanted. And, also he brought back the Power Crown. As an original Xbox owner, I've always loved that the Xbox was the most powerful. I love that the 360 was more powerful. The Xbox One wasn't more powerful, but I stuck with it. And now, once again, with the Xbox Series X, it is again the most powerful. So that Power Crown, and I'm glad that he has made a commitment to keep that power crown. Like Phil
Well,
Spencer, I think because he's been there since the beginning, he understands that these are the things that matter to gamers. And this is really fantastic for him because which other gaming company, out of the big three can really say that the leader is a gamer?
yeah, true.
Right. So I believe that's why we really like Phil Spencer and why we feel that he really deserves this award. And good for him. Congratulations, Phil.
Let me ask you this, and maybe I'll have to come back to Cool Cat Terry on it as well. What would you say it over the course of this time has been Phil's crowning achievement, and perhaps something that, and I mean, this is just theoretical, right? We don't know, but what would you say is a crowning achievement for him, and what would you say might be a moment he just as soon as forget?
A moment he would forget. Oh, that's going to be tough. Probably the Halo launch. He kept promising Halo at the launch of the Xbox Series X. That's going to be probably his moment he would like to forget because the Xbox Series X, while being fantastic, basically launched with no first-party games.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Xbox Series X is the first console that was truly his.
Mm-hmm.
This was his boat, and that's always going to be on him. And so, his best crowning achievement. Oh man, other than saving Xbox, maybe disrupting the business with Game Pass. I'm going to go with Game Pass. The disruption that Game Pass has had. It's too big to ignore now. 25 million users. It's a force to be reckoned with. Something that nobody thought could happen. And here's Phil saying, "Oh yeah, I bet you we can." And it's profitable. They've said so themselves. So it's sustainable and profitable. So congratulations to Phil.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? Let's just jump back up to Cool Cat Terry real quick because I never really answered that question. Terry, what would you say is the crowning achievement and perhaps a moment he just as soon as forget in your personal eyes?
Well, I did say Game Pass earlier. So
Okay, yes, you did. Yeah.
I did say Game Pass. So I'm going to stick with that because it is like the biggest thing that people kind of still talk about, today. Like once it was announced, we didn't really understand it, and then once it came out and it started to catch on, and now it's like it's all people talk about. So yeah, Game Pass for sure. The only thing I can't really think of anything that really to say, but I guess maybe if he had the ability back in the time, he probably would like to change how the PR team handled the Kinect, so that way things would have been a little bit more smoother with the launch of the Xbox One. But otherwise, yeah, I can't really think of anything really that he would regret.
Okay, nice. Let's bring in Scrub Nurse's opinion and take on this. How do you feel about seeing Big Phil getting that lifetime recognition? Again, what would you say was his crowning achievement and perhaps a moment he just as soon as walk away from?
I think he definitely deserves lifetime achievement, especially in this game industry where a lot of people burn out and don't even make it this long, especially starting out as a developer, and him climbing up the ranks as he has. But I would say his crowning achievement probably is not done yet. With all these acquisitions, and because we have Game Pass has just been the base of all of this. We will not be able to see all the moves that Phil has done until years from now. And that's what I appreciate what he's done is he has kind of stuck his neck out with these acquisitions because just because we have acquired Activision Blizzard, just because we have acquired ZeniMax, all these games, which we know is going to be a stronghold for Game Pass, it might not work out. We might come out with a bunch of 60 meta games and everybody goes, this was the worst decision ever. We lost money. Our stock prices are down, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's a possibility that it could be. Just because you acquired these developers and these publishers does not mean what they're going to do and what they're going to bring out is going to be perfect. So there is a big risk out of here, but I think him taking the risk, there is going to be a greater reward on the back end. So that's going to be, if you're thinking about stock price, that's has potential to skyrocket. To to get Satya and Microsoft to believe and understand what gaming is and have them go all in on it, that is mind blowing itself. There's so many things about it. To get the power crown back that Xbox had from when it first started. I mean, even coming out with the Xbox One X before you even got to the Series S and X, I think was just great. All he's doing is these little steps, and then it
Yeah.
turns into big steps. But like I said, we will not see how far and how great this could be until years from now. So I'm definitely interested and excited to see how that goes. Right now, because yes, he's the helm of Xbox. What is this? Almost 7 years, almost 8 years
Mm-hmm.
going. Um, I
It's
would
almost
say,
10 years. He took over
yeah,
in 2013, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
probably at the end
2013.
of
So
No,
it's
it
this.
was
almost
it
10
was
years.
just it was about a year after the launch of the Xbox One when he took over, because I'm
Mhm,
pretty sure what's his name was still around for the first year. Matrick.
mhm.
No, Matt, what's his name?
It
God,
wasn't soon after the release that
I know that Donnie left at 2 months after the launch of the
right,
one. So
Mm.
2 months. And that
and to
was, yeah, you're right. It was 2014 by that point. Yeah. Okay.
mhm.
Got it.
So to me, even though he wasn't at the helm, I would say for him, I think because he's a team player, he wants Microsoft to do well. I probably think it would be 2013 and the
Mm-hmm.
reveal of the Xbox One. Um, if you're saying, "Oh, well, show me something where it was under Phil," and it would probably be the reveal of
Mm-hmm.
Halo. Um, showing the game out to the fans and even the haters, and it not being just overwhelmingly, oh my god, look at this, Craig incident, pop, your pop in, you know trying to
Mm-hmm.
The
show off a
lighting.
game that you're excited about, and then everyone is just trashing it, and you're getting ready to put out this console that you've been touting for all these years, and then also you're talking about it, you're excited to bring it out, and then you don't have the game that you've been hyping up and ready to bring, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously look at the game. Also, when you're showcasing that game off, you have people with, look at Craig, look at this pop in,
Yeah.
then it's giving a poor reflection on the Series X, because you're going to have people, this is what the game looks like on this console, this is the power you're talking about, blah 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 blah. So I think that was to the detriment of the Series X at the time, but I
Mm.
think that they're doing a great turnaround in this situation. But I'm excited to see where this is going. That I don't think we're done with acquisitions, but I think it will be until they try to get this Activision Blizzard thing all locked up and completed.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to think of all those studios, all those developers, all IPs that are available to bring back, or just these developers might want to try something new. Or you could say, I don't want to do Call of Duty anymore. Hey, I want to help on, Gears, Sea of Thieves, all this talent that is now going to be eventually under Xbox, showing what they can bring to all these other games.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's been a master stroke that I don't think anybody was ever thinking Microsoft and Xbox was going to pull off. And all these big steps happen under Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we've had strokes with the Xbox 360 was the crown achievement of Xbox for all these years. But I have a feeling with these moves right here, you could have another and say, no, this was a console that really pushed Microsoft and Xbox even further. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Oh boy, the future is definitely bright. And and Axel alluded to it, it's that Xbox is in that position where they can take the risks, I guess. And that's how you got to look at it. They've been big risk takers, and it certainly helps to have the support and a bigger bankroll in the grand scheme of things. Should I be bringing this up on the screen here right now, Axel?
No,
You
no,
got
that's for
you
my
got
segment. That's for my
Oh, okay,
segment.
okay. I just see it in the bottom, so I wasn't sure if it was something that you wanted to bring to my attention right away. It hasn't been an easy road for Xbox or for Phil Spencer. I would have to go out and say that I think personally the hardest part of Phil Spencer's job is probably dealing with the media. And the reason I say that is because in today's world, we often see how every little thing can be taken out of context, how they like to twist things around, how they can take the simplest article and turn him into the bad guy or perhaps even the good guy, depending. We see all the time now when he does a video with a shelf behind him, everybody's trying to find some clue as to what Xbox's next move is, or a studio acquisition or whatever else. That's turned into its own little game. Whether it's intentional or not, I'm not 100% sure. But there's no question about it. The man stuck his neck out. Now it's not on all Phil. He's got a great team behind him. You can't be a one-man show in a big company like this. I mean, they've got a lot of great figureheads over there that have been around the business a long time. Everybody from AC Bongos and Sarah Boyd and Major Nelson and Aaron Greenberg. I mean, a lot of these people that are with the company, like Aaron and Phil, have been there for a very long time. Aaron's been there probably 20 years himself. I remember seeing pictures when he was just a wee skinny little lad starting things out, so that's a testament of, I mean, obviously the way they're appreciated in the company and their value to the team as a whole. I mean, personally for Phil, I don't know, like I think your crowning achievement obviously is seeing where Xbox is overall compared to where it was. I mean, looking out your window and seeing that beautiful shiny Xbox Series X and S, coming out to this, biggest launch ever for an Xbox console, which is impressive considering the shortages and everything else that's going on in the world. That's a crowning achievement right there. Game Pass obviously has sort of transformed the way our industry consumes and looks at the gaming industry, and probably will do so for some time, because honestly, I think all of these acquisitions, all these things that we're seeing right now is a large correlation to where the industry is headed. And that is not all on Microsoft's shoulders, but they certainly bear a good brunt for being the ones who to say step out of the box and pardon the pun, and move it forward. So everybody now is sort of scrambling to catch up. I said this morning on my Twitter feed, I said it's not that Microsoft could go out tomorrow and buy 500 developers, right? Like all small developers. And if nobody heard of them, nobody would even give a crap. They'd be like, yeah, but who cares? The only reason now this is a big deal is because they went out and bought Activision. And Activision's only a big deal because guess what? Some of the most successful titles on the planet are under their banner. That's the only reason. Otherwise, nobody'd even give a rat stink. People stirred a little bit of a pot when they bought people like, when they picked up developers like Ninja Theory and stuff, right? But not to the same degree we see now. It's totally different. Even Bethesda kind of was like, okay, but then it was kind of, it kind of cooled off. And this one really seems to have stirred the pot, because now it's all part of that big banner. But anyway, not to get off track. I think things Phil's probably really proud of is the Xbox, the One X, how that one came out at the end of that life cycle and sort of salvaged the brand in terms of their commitment to making hardware that was impressive and powerful, that sort of stuff. I'm pretty sure the games lineup was a great start for the Xbox One, but the messaging was all over the board. I don't know how much of that whole TV aspect and that part, how much he played in that role, if any. But I'm sure he just as soon as forget that. He said many times, you got to come back to the hardcore. At the end of the day, it might be the fans, that the casual fans that really drive the market in terms of a dollar value, but you cannot devalue what the hardcore people bring, the real voice of the gaming community, because we're the ones in touch with it. We know the difference about getting great value in a game or getting ripped off. That's the difference between us and a casual. Casuals have no idea. They don't even care. They can get ripped off. You could tell them you're ripping them off and they still go and buy it. That's the difference. Whereas we're smart consumers. Not saying we all make smart choices, but you get where I'm going with that. Honestly, like I said, Game Pass, a crowning achievement. And I think it was Craig Simmons brought it up in the chat. I mean, there's lots of little things in there too. I mean, the whole fact that they're bringing over the family of games, the whole backwards compatibility, the game share function, ease of use. I mean, little things that we take for granted now, even like bringing over your save files from one Xbox to another is flawless and so simple. It's not like that on any other console. There's always a lot of rigmarole. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of little things, and that's part of with him and his internal teams. all that. So yeah, new phenomics. Yeah, it hasn't always worked out exactly the way I planned. You know what I mean? I definitely think, I think somebody said it in the chat, that whole Xbox Live price, gold price hike that year. There are people that say in the know that Phil was not 100% aware of this and was kind of furious. And rightly so. If he wasn't aware of what was going on, I would be furious, because it's bad enough to increase prices, but you don't do it when you're trying to grow something. That's the thing. If they, we all said, if you think that growing Game Pass is good by kicking your other loyal customers in the teeth to do it, not a good look. And that, I'm glad people spoke up, and that got shot down as quickly as it came into play, because they knew that was not a good move. And that would have been guys like me, guys who hadn't been on Game Pass at that time. They're like, oh, so I'm not in Game Pass, you're just going to kick me in the mouth and say, who cares about you, right? We got to get you on that Game Pass train, even if it means basically forcing your hand to do so. Never a good way to do it. I mean, my God, he started at, what was it? It was Age of Empires or something like that, the game he started it on.
I'm not sure.
It was a PC-based game, and I can't remember if it was Age or if it was Flight Sim. I can't remember, but I know that's where he started out. He was part of one of those teams.
His first game, I think, might have been Age. I think you're right, because back then it was the games on Windows was the big thing, and Xbox was kind of born of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe you're correct. Let me Google.
And we could say like the Kinect, but honestly, I've never gotten the feeling from Phil that the Kinect was an issue or a problem. I think it was the way it was marketed. The Kinect had tons of potential. It still does, but obviously it's not going to be anymore. That sort of thing. So yeah, I consider all day there's probably a billion of them, but he's got to be happy with most things. I'm pretty sure one of the most glaring ones, I'm shocked that nobody brought it up, was the whole Scalebound fiasco. Right?
Yeah, but
he had to take that on the chin himself. And he was the one, ultimately had to pull the plug in that project.
Yeah, I think with Scalebound, I'm not sure if he was trying to, if Scalebound was under his wing when he first started or before, but I think it was a move for him to go on ahead and shut it down, because the way they were just siphoning funds and just yanking everybody's chain around what was being done, but actually nothing was being done. I think that was a great move for him to actually do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you have someone, that's underneath you that is not performing well, even though you might like them, even though they might have been with you for a certain amount of time, at some point you got to cut your losses, even though it might have been an interesting game. Because of the internet, it wasn't an interesting game to about 80% of the populace until it was canceled. So
right, true.
I think that was just a lot of insincere ranting from most people about, oh my God, how could you drop that studio?
Well, I agree with you, because Scalebound was not even a proven IP. This wasn't like a sequel to a great franchise. It was a new IP. Nobody had any idea if the game was even going to be any good. It looked cool. That's as much as you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from Platinum, so you knew they had some pedigree, right? But
did you guys really think it looked that great? What the gameplay? Because
but
that frame rate was atrocious.
he had headphones, and he was riding a dragon, and he had headphones on. So that was so awesome. Mm-hmm. We've never seen that before. Wouldn't we want to play that game like yesterday?
I love Panzer Dragoon, so I love dragon riding games, if you will. But
Stick says the game was not under his banner.
It wasn't.
And while he wasn't the one who orchestrated the deal, he was part of the company that shut it down, that finally said enough is enough. We got to kill this because it's not coming out. You squandered the money, and that's it. They kind of walked away, but it sounds like they're on pretty good terms, because he's been talking with Mizuguchi, or whatever the heck his name is, from that studio, and it sounds like it's water under the bridge. Like, Phil knows the importance of Japanese developers, and the last thing you want to do is burn a bridge that you're still trying to build. And I think there's a lot of good faith there, and you never know what could turn up in the future. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that too, the resurgence in the land of the rising sun, because he keeps going over there and he keeps, putting money in, and the cloud is a huge proponent of them moving forward. And that's a part of the reason they got Activision, and all that stuff. And that's probably going to be Phil's next big decision. Probably by next year, when the paint is dry and the stuff gets signed, I think one of his big tough decisions is how they handle the acquisition of Activision moving forward, and what did he do with Bobby Kotick. I mean, that's probably not something that Phil decides on himself, but I think we all can see the writing on the
he's
wall.
deciding it.
Yeah, I can't see them keeping that guy around.
Yeah, if he's going to be CEO of Microsoft Gaming, Bobby Kotick is Kotick, however you want to say it. I really don't care. He's trash. He's going to be under Phil. So Phil has I love getting people's names right, but I don't care about this guy. But Phil would be in control of this guy, and he's going to be gone. And the only reason why I say, because a lot of people, you don't know, Phil is all about gaming. He's all about keeping Microsoft images correct. And yes, he smiles and handshakes and waves to the crowd, but he also is a ruthless businessman. And this is not a hard step for a businessman to make your company greater, is get rid of this, albatross hanging around this company's neck. Throw him in the river, let him go wherever he goes. And that's just less stress that you have to this company that you've taken under your wing. I think it's a no-brainer. He shouldn't have no problem pulling that trigger.
What's going on, Tushy? What's going on, Iceman, Stitch? Everybody in the chat. Graphic God is gracious with his presence this morning. Let me just say this, and I'll end off. This will be my final thought. I mean, I think a lot of us are unanimous. The one thing we constantly come back to is we love Phil because he is a gamer, first and foremost. Besides being a corporate suit, he's a gamer. You see him all the time. If anybody has him at it on their Xbox, you see him legitimately on his Xbox or his PC playing a game constantly. Like he is entrenched in the community, and they listen. And he definitely, you can tell he's listening. He's trying to keep his pulse on the heartbeat of the community. He's trying to do his best to do what's right by the general community as a whole. Yeah, can he please everybody? Hell no, nobody can. But he's trying to do his best, and he's trying to do not only what's best for what he thinks is for the gamer, but he's also trying to do what's best for Satya, the company as a whole. They weren't in a good spot. They had a huge, massive hole to dig its way out of, in terms of saving the gaming division. And look where they are now, spending, almost $80 billion buying people. You know what I mean? Right. That's insane. That would have never happened several years ago. They would have been laughed out of the room. And that's how much things have changed. But like I said, he's a gamer. I've never spoken to him outside of one particular time, and I'll never forget it because it's still a crowning moment for me. I jumped into a game of Destiny with the guy. He had his party open, and perhaps it was very unethical of me to do so, but he was playing, and I just jumped in the game, and I went in and introduced myself and wished him congratulations. And this was just after the launch of the 1X. He was playing Destiny 2. Go figure, right? He loves Destiny. And we played for probably 20 minutes or so, and then he had to go, and he was getting ready for a vacation at the time. I remember saying that to me, and I didn't talk about all games, I asked him how he was doing and how he felt about things and stuff, and he gave me some pretty just straightforward answers, and just said he's really happy I was liking the product, and really happy to know that fans were loving the Xbox, the 1X and stuff, and things like that. It was a cool moment to actually get to talk to him, not face to face, but over Xbox Live. It was pretty cool. And I had something else I was just going to say there, but the last thing I'll just say is here's how I perceive the companies. And please forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is the way I perceive both companies. I feel if there was two graves in the ground, okay, and say it was Jim Ryan was in one grave and Phil Spencer was at the top of that grave. I feel like Phil Spencer's the kind of guy that would hand him a ladder or reach his hand over and pull him up. I feel like with Sony, if it was Phil in the grave, they'd have took the shovel and buried the motherfucker. Pardon me. You know what I mean? And walked away and felt nonetheless wiser. That's the difference I find with it seems like both companies. Like I find that Sony they're just so seedy. I don't trust anything they do. Because I just feel like like they've got that old school competition mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not we're going to be first by just being better. We're just going to be first by burying people. That's what we do. We're just going to get rid of our competition. It hasn't worked out the way they planned because I feel that obviously Microsoft has changed directions and kind of caught them with their pants down, so to speak. But that's the way I feel about both companies, and I could be totally wrong. But that, I never get that real good feeling about Sony. Like, I think if they could wipe everybody off the face of the planet, they wouldn't hesitate. If they had the money and the resources to do it, they'd just go for it, and we'd be all stuck on a PlayStation ecosystem.
Yeah. But Noof, you can also bury someone by letting them follow you and leading them straight to quicksand. So there's different ways you can bury someone, bury them or let them bury themselves. So I think Phil is taking the quote unquote high road approach, and I think it's working out well. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I definitely am.
Yeah, you're saying Phil took the right path, and then the other guys went to the left path, and now they're stuck.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's my last thought on that. Anybody else have any further statements or things they might have forgot to say?
Not really. I also want to give Phil a shout out for honoring the legacies, for the backwards compatibility, because
yes,
because that's really important to someone like me as a game collector. I do have a lot of physical games, and I especially love that they did the improvements. The resolution boost, the FPS boost, the auto HDR on some of these older games. I really love that they respect your purchase and respect your money.
For no extra charge.
For no extra charge, they just do it to do it. And the backwards compatibility program may have stalled for the time being because of licensing. But I mean, nobody else did the work. Nobody else has. So shout out to Phil and everybody else at Xbox who wanted to make this a reality. Someone like me really appreciates it.
But don't you feel like Xbox essentially is like the guinea pig, because they're the ones that go and do this, and nobody else does it until they see Xbox successful at it, and then they go, "Oh, maybe we should do the same thing," and hope that everybody's going to,
yes,
because they nobody liked back compatibility on PlayStation until Xbox did it well, and now what do you see? Backwards compatibility, lots of remasters. So apparently nobody plays old games. Well, apparently they do.
Yeah, Microsoft's been very forward thinking since the beginning.
Yeah.
When you put an Ethernet on an Xbox, when the vast majority of people didn't have fast internet at home anyway. So you already were thinking about it. Every step they've been doing, you think with the Kinect, with the DRM, all these different things have been steps forward that folks have been balking against. Game Pass, that now all of a sudden after the fact, now everybody's jumping onto it. So they have been sticking their neck and taking risks for a long time. Some of them worked and some just have been a little bit too early for the masses. But almost every step that they have done when they're trying to be forward thinking has become the norm eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like that Xbox has been very future vision with their consoles. As Scrub brought it up, the original Xbox was built with online in mind, and nobody else was really doing that. The 360, that's when we had the Xbox Live services and the Xbox Live Arcade. Who would have thought that downloading games would have been so awesome? The Xbox One kind of always online at the time, I think, was a little too forward thinking, and everybody was crying privacy, blah, 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 even though nobody really meant it. But, the Xbox One kind of became the testing. I'm kind of glad that the Xbox One did what it did, because it became the proving ground for everything we're enjoying today in the series, Xbox Series consoles. And I love that the Xbox is always forward thinking. And when you have something like forward thinking, the competition follows. After Xbox put that Ethernet port on there, guess everybody else did. After Xbox did Xbox Live, everybody else did. After Xbox did game chat, even game chat was brand new back then, and who would have thought that voice communication would have been so big at the time for games? So Xbox has also always been the social platform for me. It's the console you play with friends. Nintendo is great when you have siblings around you. PlayStation is great if you enjoy that single player aspect of gaming. But I believe that Xbox has always been the social gaming platform. They're always about playing with other people and meeting new people and gaming. And that's another thing that I really enjoy about Xbox, and that Phil continues to push forward, especially with accessibility to games like for your community game nights.
Yeah.
I know I don't make a lot of them because, as I said, that's date night for me and the wife. Yeah. But a lot of those games that you put on there, they're on Game Pass. I mean,
that's right.
I'm sure that helps.
We do that intentionally.
Yeah, I'm sure that helps.
It certainly does. It gives people less excuse to go, well, I don't have the game. But you know what I'm finding now is storage has become the problem. It isn't Game Pass. Like last night, we were trying to find a game to play because, we found that one was Rubber Bandits. Just, it's only 4-player for one, and it didn't hold our interest very long. It was fun for like a half an hour, but then you're just like, yeah. And then we're trying to find games to play. And you know what? Everybody's like, yeah, I got the game, but guess what? Not installed. Guess what? I got the game, not installed. And we went through the list, and it was ridiculous. It's like, so obviously people are running out of damn storage. It's crazy. So you had to be very selective of what you keep on your hard drive and what you don't. And when you're in the heat of the moment, it's pretty hard to kind of just go, yep, I'm going to start downloading something. Yeah, that's 30, 40, 50 gigs. While we got these great internet speeds, that still means like 15, 20, half an hour, whatever it might be, to get there. So not really cool. They definitely have to start working on storage solutions as they head into, other avenues. But maybe that's part of the thing. Maybe they're going to make storage so big that people go, oh, I'll start doing this cloud thing. I'll just start streaming everything.
Yeah, and I have Halo Wars installed on my computer because I love it. But the other day I felt like playing Halo Wars on my Xbox, and I just decided to try it on cloud gaming. It went pretty good. Not perfect as always, as cloud gaming is not, but it went really good. And the fact that I didn't have to download it or wait for a download was really fantastic.
Nice.
So yeah, I agree.
Well, anyway, I think I speak on behalf of this panel at Good Morning Xbox and Gaming After Dark, and I'd say the majority of Xbox fans across the world. Congratulations, Phil. We love the work that you and your team at Xbox are doing. That's everybody from Sarah Bond, Bonnie Ross, the whole works. Has it been a smooth road? We totally get that it has not. Are there going to be some speed bumps ahead? I'm certainly willing to bet there will be. But I think for the most part, just the fact that we can still say that we game on an Xbox platform and that you've given gamers the best value in entertainment, not just gaming, it speaks for itself, and we thank you for that. So again, congratulations, Phil, on your Lifetime Achievement Award when you get it at the DICE Awards, and we look forward to seeing what's coming in the pipe over the next couple of years. Is an exciting time to be an Xbox fan because they have a lot of games coming. My God. All right. Yeah, new Rainbow Six wasn't even perfect. Only took about 6 gigs. Yeah, some games aren't super huge, but my God, some are just massive. All right, it's time to bring in Cool Cat Terry and a look at the Indie Spotlight. Let's see which gem she's going to bring to the show this week. Take it away, Terry.
All right, you all. I went ahead and picked out. I wanted to give you guys something that wasn't puzzle related because I know I do show a lot of puzzle stuff. So this time I went ahead and I picked out a platformer for you all. So I'm going to give this a trailer.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. My computer sometimes very tardy. Well, this is looking fun.
Looks challenging, which I love me some challenge.
Flynn, son of Crimson.
All right, so there you have it. So there's Flynn, Son of Crimson. It's published by Humble Games and developed by Studio Thunder Horse. So for those of you that are into the action adventure 2D platformer scene, this one's for you. It's very well done. You play as the character Flynn and his mythical dog companion Dex, and you go on this huge adventure. You got your fast-paced combat that you guys saw there. There's over 40 unique stages to play through. There's even a stun gauge for your enemies. So as you're beating on some of these enemies, you can work on your stun gauge so you can do a lot more attacks while they're not attacking you back for the harder enemies. You had your melee combat. And there's also some ranged magic attacks you could do that are unlimited, but they're a lot weaker than your melee. So they want you to do melee over just staying back and doing magic attacks. So they made them weaker, but it's very, very well done. Yeah, basically you just got to try to save his land before the evil scourge takes over everything. So it's a good time. Go ahead and check that out. It's $20 on PC, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation. But if you jump on it right now, it is still in Xbox Game Pass. So go ahead and enjoy it.
There you have it, guys. Flynn, go check it out. Looks like a cool little game. Even Axel's like, yeah, he might have to download. Or sorry, Iceman and Iceman Axel. He might have to download it. I might have to do the same. We'll have to see here. There you go, guys. Let's play some Streets of Rage, baby. I got to get somebody to come over and play some of those co-op games on the Sega Genesis collection on the Xbox. It's always more fun to play with co-op players on Streets of Rage and Golden Axe and stuff. Be a lot of fun. Yeah. Let me know if anybody's up for that. Go some old school, baby. All right. Let's get back to the topics on hand this morning here. And I think the next one, let's quickly talk about Destiny. Big acquisition. I don't think we talked about this last week, did we?
No.
We talked about this
because Activision.
Yeah, because it hadn't come. Yeah, it wasn't announced yet.
Okay, it's just because sometimes I never, because this podcast falls on a Sunday, and all this stuff usually happens toward the start of the week, and sometimes at the end, because between listening to podcasts and doing Gaming After Dark, sometimes I can't remember exactly what we've talked about on this show. So I don't want to make this topic redundant, and I'm not here to go into a big spiel, but I mean, we're talking about Phil Spencer, segueing into that. He's a huge Destiny fan, and obviously Bungie, I mean, it's hard to talk about them without not talking about their history, and they have a huge history, like it or not, with Coquette Terry. They are the Halo developer. Xbox probably wouldn't be Xbox and where it is without Bungie and Halo, and Bungie wouldn't probably be the developer we know today without Xbox. So it's a bit of a mutual there, right? But now, oddly enough, like I said, this is really funny, right? Because here we are, Activision is now underneath the Xbox banner, and that means properties like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, which have been notoriously known for being PlayStation properties, are now under the Xbox umbrella. And here we go. We've got Bungie, notorious for being an Xbox studio, now underneath Sony's banner. And it sounds like they're going to keep continuing to go multi-plat, at least for the foreseeable future. So I don't know. Just how do you foresee all of this? I mean, is it a good move for them? And how does this going to factor in with Xbox? Do you think there'll be any changes? Do you think this is a leverage move or anything like that? And what do you think about it all? Because I kind of find it funny that, here we are, a studio that made it very clear that one of the reasons they wanted away from Microsoft was because they didn't want to become a sci-fi first-person shooter developer, and certainly not, make Halo games for the rest of its duration. And yet, since they made Halo Reach, they've only made 2 games since, Destiny and Destiny 2, which are sci-fi shooters, very similar to Halo, with the exception of a games as a service model, a little bit different in the way the games are approached, but still very Halo-esque in many regards. And here they are, right? Now they're underneath the other banner, but saying that they can still go multi-plat. So who wants to jump in? I'll go open on this, and whoever wants to have at it. Just how do you see the deal, and do you think it's going to make any major effect on Xbox?
I don't think this will have any major effect on Xbox, other than I'm pretty sure when any DLC or something comes out, because they are under Sony with PlayStation, you might have an exclusive gun, or you might have exclusive helmet that you can only get if you are a PlayStation owner. But I think this is for Bungie is just the biggest sweetheart deal that they can get. For them to be able to say, we will publish on whatever we want to, all we have to do is say, PlayStation, give us some more money. And PlayStation will give us more money. And then we will still put everything multi-plat and publish just like we want to. Even whatever, we don't know about future stuff, but we know there's a game in the works. They say right now that they want to put that multiplayer as well. So, I mean, who would you beat? How would you beat that? That's just like someone says, I want to finance you, or I want to be your sugar mom or sugar daddy. You can do it, whatever. Here's a little money on the side. Go live your life. Who would not take that? As far as Sony, yes, this was in the works. I can see both ways. A lot of people now are saying, well, no, this had nothing to do as a response to Activision. Well, yeah, you might have been in talks for 5 months before then, but you didn't seal the deal until like a week or so afterwards. So somebody put some flames under your feet to make that move.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Hey, let's up that price.
And then in that deal, a lot of people are saying what it was like 2.4 billion. I mean, but 3.6 in all, and that extra 1.2 that isn't getting paid up front is to keep these publishers, these developers under the wing of Bungie for as long as they can. What they do is they'll take that pay incentives and spread it out to those developers depending on how long they stay. So they not only are getting the Bungie studio, but they're getting the developers and making sure that they're not just jumping from, oh, we've been acquired, we're all leaving. So for them to stay, I think until the deal is finished, they get a certain amount of money. And then I think depending on whether it's 2 years after, 3 years after, we're going to pay you this amount of money. So if you're getting a lump sum amount of money for what I don't know how many developers with Bungie is, almost 400 or so, and you take 1.2 billion and spread that around. Yeah, a lot of people are going to stay to get that money unless you were just so mad, so pissed off that you just had to leave. People are going to stay an extra 2 or 3 years for that money. I know that from personal facts, me working for a hospital. Hey, we'll pay the rest of your college if you come work for us for 3 years. 3 years is a long time, but then when you finish that 3 years, it wasn't nothing. You might even go under another contract just so you won't have to pay extra money. So I think this is a big deal for them to be able to still do what they want to do. And I think that's the only reason why Microsoft might have not got them, because Microsoft were back and forth in talks with Bungie on several occasions. There was news and there were rumors about it, but I think what Phil and Microsoft was wanting to do was possibly do like they did with with the ZeniMax and Bethesda offering is, yes, we have you now, but we're going to start making some of this stuff exclusive. So, and even if they thought that's what was going to happen, I could see Bungie saying, no, we're going to go somewhere else. And I think their negotiations with PlayStation weren't going hardly anywhere until Activision and PlayStation's like, look, we got to make a move now. So.
Well, we know that nowadays the IPs can be just as valuable or more valuable than the studios that make them themselves, right? I mean, you see that all the time. I mean, look if Xbox didn't buy that Halo IP, right? Look where we'd be right now. So that was a massive get for them because that was a franchise that's associated with the brand. So that's just the thing, like that. Obviously, it was Naughty Dog that made the first Crash Bandicoot, but whatever happened in their dealings, they lost that IP over to Activision. So, and you see how that's kind of worked out. Not that Crash was as huge as Sonic or Mario and probably never will be, but he's significant and iconic enough. Like you see that. And then you look at deals that, could say were undervalued. This one is kind of overvalued, but that's overvalued now. In 4 or 5 years from now, this deal could be huge for PlayStation. Just in the way that Minecraft was absolutely massive for Xbox. I mean, we all laughed when they bought Mojang at $2 billion. You're like, holy crap, for Minecraft? Really? And then it's like, man, that game paid for itself probably in the first 6 months they had it. It's like, holy moly, this thing is just a bankroller for them. And no wonder they keep it multi-plat. This thing is hauling in coin. It's almost funding Microsoft itself. It's craziness. I'll let everybody else jump in as soon as I get to these super chats. Percolator 9000. Sorry it took me so long to get to your super chat, but he drops $5 and says, I would throw a curveball. Do you think last gen would have did better if social media was not so big? Because 360 days social media was not big then. Anybody want to take a crack at that question? So basically saying, do you think it would have been as big?
I responded to Percolator on this, and I told him I think it actually would have been worse. And let me tell you why it would have been worse. Because if it wasn't for social media, the only voices in the gaming industry would have been the media, the IGNs, the magazines, or the EGMs or whatever, and none of them were positive about Xbox. The second reason I think it would have been worse is when you went into game retailers, you had employees actively steering you away from Xbox. And I say this from experience because once I graduated college, I was ready to get back into gaming, and everywhere I looked, it was negative. Xbox taught this, lack of power that. Xbox doesn't have anything special, blah, blah, blah. And if it wasn't for social media and finding the podcast-centric, the Xbox-centric podcasting scene, I believe I would have been beat down to the point where I might have ditched Xbox. So I really do think that it would have been worse without social media because it was the small voices that started talking really loud. And as a matter of fact, the small voices now are so loud that in a way, some of them are bigger than social media. Bigger than gaming media sites. So I totally disagree. I think social media helped Xbox last generation.
That's right. It's like throwing a big fish in front of the right cat. Iceman LMH, she comes in with a super chat at $4.99. What do you guys think about Microsoft getting Sega? I'm hearing they might make that deal for 2023. I would go nuts. Well, if there's one thing we do know is that they're probably going to do something else. Obviously, they can't do much now until this deal is done and certified and off the books, because it would look really, really bad, and it would be a hard thing to pull into the courts if they're already in the middle of another big negotiation while they're still waiting for the ink to dry in this one. So, yeah, they're done for now. It doesn't mean they're done. It doesn't mean they're not halfway through a negotiation, but they're certainly not going to make anything public. Because that would be bad. Obviously, the Sony thing with Bungie, as we just alluded to, is not something that happened overnight. They didn't just come out and see the acquisition of Activision and go, yep, let's get them. That's not how this works. This was something they had on the book for a while. But like Scrub said, making it public now was very strategic because they don't want people, what have everybody done for the last 2 weeks pretty much? Talked about Xbox and Activision, right? Right. So what doesn't Sony notoriously do every time Microsoft makes any sort of statement? They come out with something. Every damn time they come out with something after the fact. They go, hey, look at us. Don't look in the mirror that way too long. Just look at us. I don't know why
Sony has Halo now. I forgot to mention that. Sony has Halo now.
Sony has Halo now. How does that work?
I think it's hilarious that they announced Bungie, and some very loud voices on social media were like, oh yeah, Sony owns Halo. Nowhere in there was there any Destiny talk. It was all about Halo. So in case anybody wants to tell you that Halo doesn't matter anymore, or that it's dead or not a huge franchise, they're lying.
Yeah. All of a sudden, people were happy to own Craig and Master Chief when, 3 months ago it was trash and nobody wants to play it. I thought that was hilarious.
That's right. It was hilarious. The Sega thing, I would love if Xbox got Sega, but between you and me, now that the Activision thing is happening, it's going to take roughly a year and a half-ish to clear everything. Sega might get scooped up by somebody else.
I don't think it was going to take that long.
It might not be one of the big three, but I think they might get scooped up by someone else.
No, I think they put some kind of thing on the table. It's kind of like a guarantee, like we're committed to this, and they put out their numbers. That's the way I think it is.
Yeah,
a letter of intent, and kind of like, hey, we're in exclusive negotiations here with you guys, and and they've got a pretty good relationship with Sega as well. I don't think they'd go underhanded. I think they would just kind of be like off the table until the smoke clears. Now, perhaps when it's said and done, perhaps they entertain a few different offers, and perhaps they still can entertain the offers and then kind of go, well, these guys are going to do this, this, and this, right? Why wouldn't you, right? If you can get the most maximum value for your dollar. But at the same time, they might not be able to go, okay, well, these guys are going to entertain this, but we can sign on the dotted line to them before they give the other guy a chance to come back and counteroffer. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
At least that's how I would hope it would work.
That's the way you want negotiations to work. You don't want them to leave the table. You want to get something on there right away.
There's a lot of smoke around Sega. That's the crazy part, right? Like, I know we've all been talking about it and theoretically talking about it, but my God, like, have you guys seen any more smoke around a company in the last 2 years and around Sega? I mean, we've heard insiders talking about this for a while, that there might be something up, and like I said, we know the long history of Sega and Microsoft going way back to the Sega Dreamcast, and if you remember the original Xbox, I mean, it was fueled by Sega games. Like, they kind of made their claim to fame really with the Xbox on the resurgence there. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. I love my Sega games. Obviously, I like the Total War series. A 4X strategy game on the computer, and I love that it's coming to Game Pass. I played Yakuza for a long time. You guys heard me like, hey, Alex, so what you been playing? Yakuza for like a good year, Obviously, I love me some Sonic. I'm really looking forward to that. Open world Sonic, but Sonic Colors, Sonic Generation, Sonic Mania, all those are great for me. Some of the IPs that are being fan made, the Streets of Rage, especially Streets of Rage 4 was fantastic. Love that game. And just some of the other not so great Sega IPs, like Shenmue 3 came out and it kind of sucked, but here I am, I still play it, so there you go.
Well, yeah, it's because they tried to stay in the Shenmue. The problem was they tried to keep it in its honored tradition of the first two, and the first two were groundbreaking games when they came out back in the day. But when you look at them now, you're like, ew, yeah, this is not quite, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, this series needed to evolve, and it really didn't. I think they tried to pay homage to the old school fans, and it for the large part it worked, but it should have been a much bigger title than it was, and obviously didn't even get published by Sega. It was made by Yu Suzuki and a GoFundMe or a crowdfunded game. So we got a super chat coming in real quick, and this is a food for thought, and this is something I would totally get behind and think would be awesome. If Microsoft should get BioWare perfect fit when able, I totally agree. Hopefully EA actually puts them up for sale and Microsoft would buy them. That'd be so cool to see them come full circle and go back with Microsoft and be able to build games there, because EA has a notorious thing for ruining franchises. So that'd be really cool. And we got one more super chat here before I get back to you guys. Stitch 6669 $4.99 says Microsoft can do with a partnership Sega. What Microsoft can do with a partnership Sega and then acquire then once Activision deal is done. That way, in the meantime, all the IPs can come into Game Pass.
Yeah, they have announced a partnership dealing with using Azure cloud services. So there's different stuff that you can see as being floated around. Like it's been mentioned several times, and also in the chat that they kind of cut loose their arcade division. A lot of times when companies are doing this, they cut off their dead weight to make, not dead weight, but stuff to make it more appealing for people to buy them. Let's say if I make donuts but I also have a waste management company. If another company like Dunkin' Donuts wants to buy me, they don't want to have to deal with the waste management company. So I might sell off the waste management portion just so they'll be able to buy me. So it's just one of those things that, like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire. But I would not be surprised that Activision and Blizzard finishes by the end of the year.
Yeah.
the time frame that they put was a year and a half. A lot of acquisitions do not take that long. I think they're giving themselves some leeway to the end of the next fiscal year. But I think they want to have that done and off the book, so when the next fiscal year comes around, they have all their money set and planned out if they do want to buy or acquire anything else. That's just what I think.
Let me ask you this. If it came down to it, Sega or Warner Brothers, which one would you take and why? Cool Cat Terry, how about you? If you had to pick one of those two.
One of which two?
Cool, Warner Brothers or Sega, if it came down to picking one of those.
I mean, I'm not really that big on either one. I would go with Warner Brothers, though. Just because if they could make any games for DC, I would be content. But yeah, no, I'm honestly not that big of a Sega fan. So if they bought Sega, great. But I honestly, I wouldn't care. It's just, I'm not a Sega fan. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I couldn't care.
Look at this Nintendo fangirl over here instead of being a Sega Does fan.
Sega didn't really have too many things that I really cared about. I mean, the only Sega console I owned was a Genesis, and I mostly had it to play Ninja Turtles. So they don't really have anything else that I care about.
I was gonna say, Terry, what year were you born again?
I was born in the 80s.
Born in the 80s? I was gonna say, because all it depends on where you were born and your love for Sega. Because I think if you happen to kind of come in during the Genesis era, you might have a bit more of an affliction for them. But if you were kind of like just coming into the world as Dreamcast was leaving it, you might have a bit of an issue.
Like I was there. I was there for all of it. It's just they never really appealed to me. I was mostly Nintendo. I had this, I didn't really. That I owned a Genesis, but I mostly just played Turtles on there, and then I did have the one, was it something X, can't remember what it's called.
Ranger X.
Oh no, Axe.
Golden Axe.
Golden Axe. I had that too, but no, they're just they don't appeal to me at all.
Come on, now your favorite game was Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
No, I don't even like Sonic. It's just funny. My husband's a diehard Sonic fan, and I can't stand him.
Terry just hasn't experienced blast processing.
Oh,
I'm not a fan of platformers. I can do 3D platforming, but I can't do 2D platforming. And it's just when I think of like platformers, I think of Sega.
Is your husband like Sonic? He likes it fast.
Oh Lord.
Oh boy.
Anyways, answering your question, dude.
Where's Cerebral Paul with the comment when you need him, eh? I can hear him already. Oh boy, gaming ever come out.
Does Warner Brothers own NetherRealm?
NetherRealm,
yes, they do.
Yes, Mortal Kombat.
Okay,
yes.
so then they would get Mortal Kombat at least, and that would give them a solid fighter because we don't really have like a fighter outside of
Killer Instinct. Which is, I mean, it's good, but it doesn't really compete when it comes to like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or anything like that. So that would be a good get for Xbox. So Warner Brothers.
Okay. I'm gonna be the opposite. I'm gonna say Sega over Warner Brothers, but this comes with a caveat. If Xbox can get exclusive rights to the DC games, I'll go Warner Brothers because Batman's my favorite superhero. I love the Batman games. I'm really looking forward to Arkham Knights and Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I'm going to buy them both, the Batman statue editions or whatever they are, right? And so Warner Brothers to me is only worth purchasing if you can work out a licensing deal with the DC characters. If you can't, I don't see why they would get Warner Brothers. It's other than NetherRealm, and for the amount of money that I'm sure they would probably pay, one IP is not worth that kind of money, right?
Call
that's
of
all
Duty.
I have to say. Whereas Sega, you get a history of IPs
Call
and
of Duty.
currently active IPs and the movies. That it just has more value to me as a gamer. So I'm gonna go with Sega.
Nice.
Yeah, one studio is not worth all that money. Yeah, you get Activision Blizzard, but the big one is Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, and everything else is is just extra icing on the cake. With Warner Brothers getting NetherRealm Studios and everything else is icing on the cake. You end up getting, like you said, DC property. A lot of people don't realize as well, Mortal Kombat and just having the game, and then you don't understand that just like you have Call of Duty League, just like you have MLG, just like you have all these other ones, you have these other big time international fighting championships, and Mortal Kombat is on YouTube and on the internet every weekend, showing those matches, showing, getting your name out. It's also advertisement. Yes, the easy one is to say Sega, but like Axel said, it's almost a waste of time if you get WB, but you don't get able to bring in, Batman, all your DC properties to have for an extended point of time. Because even with Mortal Kombat has been selling, but I think to me, the more biggest than Mortal Kombat that NetherRealm been doing is the Injustice games 1 and 2. So, and those are DC properties. So, I think that's the only thing that would hinder Warner Brothers. And would make me say Sega more. Sega's more of the nostalgia. You're going to end up trying to bring back games that you don't know if the younger crowd actually wants. You're bringing in stuff that I remember I played this game. If they're going to make a new one. I think with Warner Brothers, you're getting games, you're getting properties. Look at the movies and the games that are out now. You got your Peacemaker show, you got Suicide Squad, you're like I said, you have your Injustice, you getting your Batman games, your TV shows. The Batman is about to come out, so I think this is more in the zeitgeist as far as the younger generation. So it's a toss up.
It is a toss up. Alrighty, well, for me, I just say quickly, I would go with Warner Brothers, but that only depends on if they can get the IPs and stuff to go along with it. Like if they're able to get some of the DC licensing and a few different things, I think that would be a huge, massive get for them, because we know how popular superhero games are right now. They're huge. We've certainly seen a huge dividends that Spider-Man has paid for Sony and the PlayStation brand. I mean, more so than, God of War and Uncharted, it's been Spider-Man that's been really rocking the boat there. Like I said, that Insomniac deal looks mighty, mighty good now. When you look back at it, they got them for a steal of a deal. But if you had to buy Insomniac today, I bet you that value has probably tripled or quadrupled since the release of Spider-Man. That's what I tell people. It's like, yeah, people say, oh, 250 million sounded like a lot of money back then. But, that's the thing. Insomniac didn't have a lot of games that were bringing in extended revenue. They had great games. No one disputes that, but they just didn't have games that were pulling in bank, right? That's the thing. And this is why these deals, I mean, look at Roblox, right? Roblox, that game is pulling in serious bank all the time, right?
My daughter just spent $50 on it.
Exactly. See, Roblox is bringing in bank. I mean, what, nobody owns, they own themselves, don't they? It's like just its own independent. Terry, you probably know about that. Roblox.
Yeah, Roblox is owned by Roblox. So,
right, like they're not under Tencent or nobody like that, right? But they're financing themselves.
They are just themselves. So it's like, I think it's called like Roblox Corp or Roblox Incorporated or something. They just make Roblox and that's it. So I mean, if anybody can afford them, they can have it. But Roblox makes get the most amount of money out of any game I think out there right now. So I mean, good luck with that.
Yeah, they would come in pretty heavy. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like Roblox in its first year or two, you probably could have snagged them up for next to nothing and now try to buy them, right? That's how it goes. Warner Brothers could pay off huge dividends. You said NetherRealm. I mean, just having a massive, world-renowned, recognized franchise like Mortal Kombat. And that's the thing. And a lot of people are saying as soon as Microsoft does a deal, there's like, oh, these games are going to get pulled off or they're going to get that's not necessarily the fact, because here's the thing, right? This is what all the fans have to remember. It is a case-by-case basis. It really has to make sense for what works for Microsoft, what works for Game Pass, and what works for gamers. Because the end deal is, if it's a massive franchise that's universally loved, they stand to make a ton of money off it by just keeping it multi-plat, right? I mean, You see that with Minecraft. They could have easily pulled Minecraft off of every platform if they had wanted and said, let's just put it on Xbox and watch everybody else tank. But they did not do that. Why? Because they would have looked like the evil villain. They definitely would have, filled into that Monopoly style role by pulling off these franchises that were doing well on other platforms. And they may very well, like I said, continue to do that with Call of Duty and some of those games. But games like Skyrim itself, which are more single player focused, or the next Elder Scrolls, should I say, those could totally be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem and Xbox Game Pass, because that way it gives you incentive to own both consoles, or finally drop down and get that Xbox and a Game Pass subscription. You know what I mean? That's the thing, and they can do that on a case by case basis with the Warner Brother properties if need it be. I guess it comes down to what makes sense and dollars and cents, and it's an upper hand for them. That's the cool thing, right? Like, as they can use it as, like, if the competition wants to play hardball with us, if they're gonna come out and do their thing and they're gonna be dirty, then we can play dirty. Like, we can pull stuff off, right? Like, that's how it goes. So I don't think by every time Microsoft makes an acquisition, it's like, too bad about you guys, you'll never get anything from us. I don't think that's the case at all. I think, again, they will look at it very selectively. They'll look at what kind of games make a lot of money over the course of multiple platforms, what games are bringing in great crossplay numbers, and that's how they'll do it. But that's, Sega's got a lot of amazing IPs, but if they don't utilize them, they're useless. And right now we've seen that. What's the one thing we've seen Sega really do in the last 10 years is basically not utilize their IPs. They've gone with stuff like Yakuza. I get that. Yakuza and, Phantasy Star Online, there's been a few of those games. But, I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, I mean, Afterburner, Outrun, Shinobi, Sonic's kind of been squandered to some degree because he's had so many, subpar average games. He's definitely, at one point, Sonic and Mario were kind of like this. Sonic's running faster, but he's falling into ditches, and Mario's over there just slow hopping all his way to success. So hopefully this new Sonic game can turn that around, because my God, the mediocrity. I mean, Sonic Mania was really good, and Sonic Generate, like they said, they had some half decent games, but they haven't been anywhere on the same level as the old school games, at least in my opinion. So, maybe another Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure 3 would be really cool, but like done well, So,
well, they're bringing out that open world Sonic game.
Yeah, I hope that's going to be good. I'm hearing good things, but who knows? Who knows? All right. Well,
Bungie.
Yeah, back to Bungie.
I think you had a super chat actually there, Noof. Did
I have a super chat? Okay. Let me scroll up here. Getting lost here. It's easy to go off on different things. It's funny how they can segue into other topics. Sir X-Man coming in with $2. Warner, so I can have Looney Tunes fighting game. Oh my God, that would be awesome. Yes. What's going on, Tony?
Do Wile E. Coyote the whole way. Just give me all my Acme failures. Be hilarious.
Oh yeah, the Roadrunner just speeding through the show, just kicking you in the nuts, beep beep, kicking the nuts and run off, beep beep. Oh my God, that would be really cool though. They have a great, yeah. The very recent Sonic movie was very successful. Yes, it was, and hopefully the second one will be the same. Like, we saw that resurgence in the brand too, right? It's all about perception as well. That can lead to money, and you want to strike while the iron is hot. You certainly don't want to come in when the iron is cold. So Sega is riding a bit of a resurgence in a wave with some of their popular games that they've had in the last few years. Let's not forget either that Sega has Bayonetta and stuff like that, right? So. And Microsoft could make bank too by having those games again continue to come out for something like the Nintendo Switch. Because I'm pretty sure Nintendo would hate to see Sega roll off of their platforms. They've done pretty well over there for the most part. So, let's get over to you, Scrub. You got anything on the agenda this week about Game Pass? I know Terry had a question off thing about Game Pass, and if you don't subscribe, maybe you want to talk about that real quickly.
Yeah, there was some news because dealing with Game Pass as far as subscriptions and people were complaining. This is a deal that worked out in UK, and then Microsoft said they're going to do this across the board. So anybody knows when they do anything subscription based, they'll sit there, they'll attach it to a credit card, debit card, and monthly the money will be drawn out. So let's say you have Game Pass, you're paying $10 on Game Pass, but you stop playing your Xbox. You haven't picked it up for a year or so. Say you got a crazy PC or you're all about Nintendo or PlayStation at the time. Those $10 are still getting pulled out each month.
Mhm.
So because you're paying a subscription, which happens in a lot of companies, not just in gaming. So what they're doing now, Microsoft has come out and said that if you are playing or not playing, let's say if you're not playing, they haven't given a specific time frame, but if you haven't been playing for a long time and you're on these subscriptions, Microsoft will not, they're not saying, well, we will stop collecting the money, but they will send out not text message, emails to wherever that subscription is linked to let you know, hey, there's a way that you can discontinue this. Do you know that this is still being paid? Which I think is helpful, but at the same time, I think that we should know what we're already paying for. If I have a Netflix account and then I haven't been using it because I've been watching Disney Plus, I shouldn't be surprised 6 months from now that Netflix is still getting taken out. Just think of all the people who have these fitness accounts that they have a subscription for to go to whatever gym that they hadn't been to in the last 7 months, but it's still being 20 something dollars taken out of their account or $50. You're not paying attention, or either you
Yeah.
just don't care because you're telling yourself you're going to go back at some point. So this is what Microsoft is doing. Like I said, a lot of companies are doing that. All companies are pretty much doing that, but now they are saying we will reach out and let people know if they haven't been using it. Like I said, they haven't specified a time frame. Their time frame could be, well, you've been inactive for 2 years, versus since months, 6 months or so from now. So that's the little thing we were talking off camera about Game Pass. There is some stuff that we're going to talk about Game Pass real quick and then move along. So first, let's share some screens.
Sharing screens. Sharing
Yeah.
screens.
Mm-hmm.
Better share them before Noof gets the beans.
All right. So what I'm on now is just can y'all see? I'm not sure.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. All right. So what I'm sharing right now, this is just the Xbox app that you would have on your phone or computer. And this is just showing our recently added games. So over the last couple of weeks, we see Nobody Saves the World, Death's Door. You got your Hitman trilogy in there. Before then, it was Anacrusis that we've seen like last E3 got popped up. One thing that I thought was interesting, look what you got here from your EA Play, Battlefield Bad Company 2, which is something I might just go ahead and download and play some campaign. If you never had a chance to get to play Battlefield, the Bad Company series 1 and 2 for sure, that'd be something that'd be good to jump on. This is one of the storylines that endeared a lot of people to Battlefield back in the day. So you might see where you're getting some of that Battlefield love. I think this might also be the doorstep for them to put Battlefield 2042 in the Game Pass since it's doing so horribly. Maybe they can put that in there, put time to fix work on that game, and maybe recoup something because that has been a total disaster lately. So just letting you all know about that. Now we're going to go to Game Pass counter. Let me open this all the way. So leaving soon. If you like Control, if you hadn't played Control yet, that is leaving February 15th. Code Vein, Final Fantasy 12, The Medium, Project Winter, and The Falconeer. So these are games you might have thought about. Oh, I remember seeing this from time to time ago. Whatever happened with that game? Well, now you'll see it there. It is leaving on February 15th. So one good thing about Game Pass, you can play games for your subscription, and then if you end up running and liking the game, or you want to get it before it leaves, you can buy that same game for a discounted price. You will not be paying full price for that game. And some of these games, they've been out for a while. They are not already, $60 anymore. They may be dropped down to 40 or whatever. But then if you have Game Pass, you get a 10% discount on that. So we're going to look coming soon list as well. So Besiege, Edge of Eternity, these are all February 10th. Last Kid on Earth. Then we have Crossfire X. This is one of the things that's been waiting to come out for a long time. It's been hinted at several E3s. This is Remedy coming in. They're making the campaign for this. The multiplayer is like huge in Korea. This is something that, would be akin to not close to Call of Duty, but for the Korean area, think of something like CSGO. A lot of people think, oh, well, CSGO, let's just look at the graphics. It's not that special. Who plays that? Millions of people play CSGO. It's the same thing with Crossfire X. So we'll see how that story is. We got Ark Ultimate Survivor that's coming out on the 14th. So if you don't have anything to do on Valentine's Day, there you go. Or you and your special friend can play together. Then there'll be some other games coming toward the end of February that I'm excited about, but I'm just going out what's going to be in the next week or so. And then, of course, you also have the recent added list, which is linked out versus alphabetical order. So if you ever get a chance to play these games or want to play these games, look it up. We say it each week, GamePassCounter.com. Check it out, and it'll give you a list of everything. Also, the Xbox app, if you just want to see what's going on and get you some trailers and all that good stuff. So that's all I got for right now.
All right, guys, check it out. Again, I put the link in the description, www.gamepasscounter.com. Stay up to date on what's going and coming. And don't forget, usually with those games, you can score. If you've already downloaded them, you can usually repurchase them at a discounted price after they leave the store. So as long as you, I think, already have them downloaded, I think that's how it goes. But I'm not sure. I've never purchased a game that's left Game Pass so far. So, yeah. All right. Let's talk about the next subject here before we bring in Axel to finish up with some of the tech talk, and that is we're going to talk about real quick. What was I going to? Yes, we're going to talk about Dying Light 2. I mean, hey, it's a big game. It's been one of those that was notoriously delayed several times. For a while there, it almost looked like the game was not coming out. Now, let me just say my two bits on it real quick. I finally went and played the first game. And I figured I should play the first game before dropping a full, $90-some Canadian up here on the sequel. And I do like the first game. I don't hate it by any means, but I just don't think the first game is hooking me enough. Now, I'm not that far in, mind you, but I don't think it's hooking me enough to kind of go, yeah, I want to drop $90. And the reason saying that, because if the second is more of the same, and what I see is, again, as a parkour zombie game with, again, upgradability and breaking weapons, stuff like that, I'm out. I just, this model that everybody's using in their games is becoming really old very fast for me, and I'm not a fan. And I personally wish developers would either stop doing it constantly or at least give people the option, even if that means the game plays slightly differently. is stop with the deteriorating, breaking weapons kind of junk. I hate it. I can't stand it. It was one of the reasons that drove me nuts with Breath of the Wild, and I hope to God Breath of the Wild 2 does away with it, or at least makes them last more than 5 enemies in a row before they go dingo. That sort of thing. I don't know. There's some of these, but anyway, I'm going to get into a tangent, and I'm going to probably get even mad about it. But I don't know. I'm not really digging it, so I'm probably not. I'm going to pass on Dying Light 2. I'm certainly not going to buy it at full price. That's just me. But I'm wondering how the rest of the panel feels about Dying Light 2, and most importantly, how do you feel about the zombie genre in general? We've seen it. It just seems to never die. Pardon the pun. It just keeps coming back and back and back. You see it, and it seems like every game's got a mode with zombies, or like 80% of the games out there seem to be some kind of zombies. I mean, what is this people's infatuation about stupid Walking Dead monsters coming at you all the time? I don't know. Who wants to take it away on this one? Cool Cat? Did you play Dying Light 2? Are you going to?
I have said before that I'm not big on zombie games because I agree. I feel they're oversaturated. They're in everything. I've pretty much back. I really threw my foot down on it when they put zombies into Tomb Raider. I was like, why'd you do this? I was not happy that they did that. It's just, I'm sick of zombies and everything. I am. So no. And then, I mean, I played the first Dying Light. Like, I had fun messing around with it with my friend, but I didn't really like the game, by itself. I just felt that it was just, I thought that the AI wasn't that smart. All you had to do is climb on something, and they would usually do something to kill themselves. So you didn't really have to play. The game played itself, and you just watched. So I didn't really care for that, and so I didn't really have interest in the second one. So I mean, I haven't played it as of yet. But if it ever goes on Game Pass in the future, maybe I'll try it. But as of right now, I have zero interest in it.
Dead Rising 3 was my favorite of all those style of games, simply because I like the atmosphere and the fact that it didn't take itself too seriously. It was kind of fun. You know, you went around and literally beat the living devil out of them with like the most makeshift weapons and vehicles that you could find. It was hilarious. But anyway, I don't want to get off topic here, but yeah, any further thoughts on that? Or like, obviously you're not planning to pick it up or play it, it sounds like, with Dying Light 2. Do you have any favorite like zombie games though? Is there anyone that sticks out to you? Went, okay, like that was actually not bad. You know, I know a lot of people have an affliction for Left 4 Dead. They tried with Back 4 Blood, but that game turned into a games as a service kind of model, essentially, because the way that you had to grind to level up to actually get anywhere in the game, which we were talking about this the other night. So Back 4 Blood had so much potential, but that ruined it because it made the game super stupid hard. The average person could hardly get through any of the levels. Because of the way that they try to make you like grind to get all the stuff in order to upgrade so you can get further. And it's like, you know what, if I can't beat a level, I don't want my zombie games to turn into Dark Souls, a zombie version.
For me, the last game I played that had zombies in it that I liked was Duke Nukem 0 Hour. I haven't liked zombies since then. They're just overplayed. Yes, there were zombies in 0 Hour. They also had the pig dudes too, but they had zombies in there. It just was weird. but no, no. When I see something advertised that has zombies in it, I immediately tune it out and I move on. Like, nah.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
And vampires. Now. Vampires is another one. If they advertise vampires, I'm like, nah.
Okay, Axel, looks like you're ready to chime in. And it sounds like you might have a difference of opinion here.
No, I don't. As I've said before, Dying Light just doesn't look like my kind of game. I had not too much interest in it, and I watched someone play it for a good, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes yesterday, trying to see, okay, maybe it's better than I thought, and it's not. It's actually more, It looks worse than I thought. So it just, and as you said, you were I saw this person trying to jump around and parkour and stuff, and he was sneaking around, not really fighting the zombies because I guess they're pretty strong, which, which is great, but it made for a kind of boring game. So maybe I just watched the kind of different player. He was going more stealth route, which if that's your style, that's your style. But no. I do feel that the zombie genre is saturated, but I think I know why it's saturated is because it's easier for game developers to justify killing a bunch of of zombie humans who are no longer themselves than real humans. You know, so that's the way I see zombies. I kind of see them like a nice, easy stand-in. That aren't overpowered and that you can just mow down hundreds of them at a time. But no, Dying Light 2 it didn't look like my kind of game, and watching the gameplay yesterday verified it. So no, not interested.
Just before I bring in Scrub, the last 2 games that I played that had zombies involved that I found relatively intense. That was the game Zombie or Zombie U when it first came out on the Wii U, and that was partly because it had permadeath, right? So you had your character, and if you die, you got bitten and you died. That was it. You had to restart over, and you had to go back and find all that gear. And it's just the way that this game played. It was very first person, very Resident Evil, like, so it felt very claustrophobic, and it was what was around the corner. It was, it wasn't a super fluid game, so you couldn't, kung fu the crap out of everybody. You felt a little bit restrictive and stuff. And then the second game that I found did a really good job was Days Gone on the PlayStation was amazing, because the way those hordes came at you, it was like that movie 28 Days Later, where the zombies just weren't slow and shooting targets. Like, they came at you and overwhelmed you, and you really feel like, holy hell. Like, to me, that's like, that would be the way I would feel. It would be like if those zombies are real, you're just like, get on the bike and drive like a mofo, like, and the bike in the game too, like, would run out of gas. So you always had to keep it fueled. It wasn't just like you just jump on and drive around and say, you can't catch me. Like, you had to, gauge everything, and they could knock you off. And it was crazy. Those couple of games there, those are the most intense ones that I can recall. Anyway, go ahead, Scrubs. Have your say on Dying Light 2.
It's just not my game that just wants to make me jump out and say, I gotta get it. It's like Mirror's Edge plus zombies. That's what I think of when I see that. Jump, run, slide down the window, kill zombies, run, and then, you have factions that also want to kill you. Or think, a mixture of Far Cry with zombies. You're dealing with people that want to kill you and zombies that want to kill you. And it's just really not jumped out at me. The last real like zombie games I played are either when State of Decay first came out, and I just kind of got thrown off on it because of the bugs, because of just the problems that we all know with State of Decay 2 when it first came out. I never got back into it. Oh, it's better now. This is fixed now. Quality of life better. I just never got back into it. Or Call of Duty Zombies. And even with that, you get fun. Zombies are chasing you, shooting, and you're trying to stay alive. But even after a certain amount of levels, I'm like, this is just not my type of game. I enjoy the games for what they are. I appreciate them for the people who love playing them. There are a subset of genre for people who just love that. Let them have that, and I'm all for it. But it's Valentine's month area, so you're spending money for dinner, for this, for flowers, all of that stuff, and there are other games coming out. February is a packed month full of games. So would I buy Dying Light 2 or would I buy Horizon Forbidden West? I'm going to Forbidden West, So this
But
is
would you be playing Dying Light 2 if it was on Game Pass right now?
It would be something that I play with a friend just to say, because there's some co-op, just to say, yeah, I'll jump on there with you. But, Noof is just, to me, I think it would be like Back 4 Blood. I forgot to say Back 4 Blood, mention it. So that just lets you know how much it was not in the forefront of my mind. I enjoy Back 4 Blood, but yeah, there is a sort of grindiness to it, but that grindiness is also there for the replayability, for you to grab a certain amount of friends y'all play. Well, okay, we only got to this far with these set of friends. I got some new friends that haven't played at all. And then you start going back over, then you go back over, and you finally get through the game. But after a while, it was just like, yeah, I'm done with it. Not saying that any of the games that I play, I go, "Oh, it's a bad game. I'm done with it." But it just didn't hold my intrigue. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, there's so many games coming out. There's games coming to Game Pass. At some point, you have to make a choice of which one is best for me, not which one is everybody jumping on. Because especially us being on podcasts, folks who stream and stuff, it's easy up to be, oh, the next game is coming out. I got to go get that next game because everybody's going to want to hear what I have to say about it, or
Mm-hmm.
anybody's going to want to
Yeah.
see what I want to watch me stream it. But sometimes this is just how I look at it. If it's not for me, it's not going to come out when I'm talking to people about it. It's not going to show when I stream it. Folks are going to know he doesn't give a rat's about this game at all. And I would rather do something that brings me enjoyment. It's going to come out to the people out there, and then we all have a fun time. There's a lot of FOMO, and I don't want people to just fall into the FOMO because this is the next one. This is the next one. You're going to end up with a backlog that's already crazy on top of everything if you're just buying everything because everybody else said this is the next game to get. So that's what I have on it.
Nice. Okay, well, there you have it. Like I said, back for our state, or Jesus, my God, so many. Dying Light 2. Like I said, good game. I see a lot of my friends playing. I think the other night when it came out, I counted about 20 friends, which is a pretty good number. That's right up there with some of the most popular titles recently, and I'm glad they're enjoying it. I'm not here to sway anybody about it. I just think the genre, as Terry said, I think it's just so overdone now. It gets repetitious. The last game that really brought some freshness, I think, to some of this horror genre was the Dead Space franchise. The Necromorphs, they were scary as frig, because they were kind of like zombies, but reminded me of that movie, The Thing, with Kurt Russell. Kind of reminded me of that because it's kind of like humans that were like almost like transforming into these weird creatures. I mean, almost like spiders / whatever, and crawling out of the vents. And one minute they could overwhelm you with sheer numbers, the next minute it was that one or two just kind of crawling, and the claustrophobic nature of it and the space aspect. Hopefully, like I said, they're bringing back more of that. That was pretty amazing. So the first couple of games, the third game, obviously being co-op and a little bit different, was kind of straight away from what made the first games two epic successes, I think, for most people. But there's the guy, I think, some of the devs that made the first couple of Dead Space games, they're making a new one that's supposed to come out this year. I forget what the hell it's called, but yeah, Fear. I heard Fear was scary.
Yeah, Fear's
I've never played
good
it.
one.
So,
I played
yeah.
it on PC way back in the day. Fear 2.
So,
Mm-hmm.
My favorite zombie game of recent memory is the State of Decay 2. I know it got a lot of guff for the multiplayer sucking and all that other, and the weird bugs that would launch your car. I found those to be quite hysterical, actually, where I would try to do it. And I really liked it because it was more survival based. Your ultimate goal was to build an alliance and reestablish yourself as a community. And I really like strategy games, obviously, being a Total War fan. I like those kind of management strategy style games. And the fact that I could do it with my friends was even better, even if it led to some chaos. It was the most hysterical part was driving when we needed to drive fast. And the navigator had to have the map pulled up while the other person was driving. And it's like, okay, you had to give directions like 2 turns up, kind of like a rally driver, because there was delay in the map. And when you were, it was hilarious. It was funny. And when we got out, like, I remember by the end of the game, we were so well equipped. We would just go to these Bloodheart houses. We wouldn't even try to be sneaky. We just straight grenades, make as much noise as possible, attract some zombies. And then State of Decay released the Juggernaut mode, which was like the ultra nightmare hard mode that did not hold your hand. Like, you were under resourced. You had to sneak around more. You couldn't just run over zombies. Your cars broke down more. It was just a fantastic experience all the way around. And then they had, of course, the tower defense mode, which was fun enough, but I prefer the the Juggernaut mode the most because it was hard. And that's what I imagine a real zombie apocalypse would be like. You can't just kill every zombie, but you need to go get that food or else you're gonna die. So decisions.
Yep.
You know. So yeah, that's the way I saw it.
Yeah. Yeah, the State of Decay games are pretty cool. I played the first one. I enjoyed it for the most part. Didn't love it. A little bit clunky and it had some issues, but I could definitely understand why people kind of liked it because it definitely, like, honestly, if they took that State of Decay and they turned it into a Walking Dead game with like the popular characters, I think that would be really cool because they definitely could do something like that and it would definitely make for a pretty easy transition. Because the whole collecting, surviving, going out, that sort of thing, and with a major franchise behind it, like a major name and stuff, I think could help propel the series too. Like maybe they could even do like State of Decay, Walking Dead edition, like as a DLC or something. It'd be kind of cool.
My favorite zombie game was Sunset Overdrive.
They weren't called zombies though in Sunset Overdrive. They were called
I don't know what the hell they were called, but
They
that was a
were
fun
freaking
game.
zombies. They drank that cola and they were monsters. I love that game.
Terry, do you have a favorite zombie game?
It's fun. Like Paul was in the chat. He says he's enjoying it, but every game's not for everybody.
Free Jack comes in. Yeah, there is a Walking Dead mod on PC. Newfoundland. Yeah, go figure. Hey, there's Shadow the Tomb Raider, like half naked Lara Croft mods too. Like, oh my god, there's just so many crazy mods at PC. Unbelievable.
My favorite mod right now have to be the Resident Evil mods.
Oh, Lady D, yeah. There's a million of those.
Is that the negligee one or whatever?
Yeah, and you have to run around with a fly swatter. Yeah. These people have too much time on their hands.
They've replaced it with lizard people. I mean, it's hilarious what modders do.
Hey, Xbot in here, right up with me on that. Yes, I love Dead Rising 3. Number 4 was just, I don't know, I can't explain 4. 4 wasn't terrible, but like it just got away from everything that made Dead 3 so much fun. I don't know. They went back to the friggin' mall for first of all. It's like, oh, come on, man. Not back to the mall again. Yeah. So anyway, I think that just about brings us to the end of the show. But before we do, Axel, just some final thoughts, I guess, on the tech side or the cloud side of things and streaming. I know you just want to talk real quick about Stadia sort of coming back in an essence. Maybe explain what's going on and what do you think this might mean for the industry, if anything at all.
Yeah, so Stadia, I guess, is rebranding to Google Stream, where it looks like they're gonna license their tech out to companies like Bungie, Capcom, and Peloton to be able to be the servers for these games that are coming out. I guess it's cool that they're doing the licensing instead of just letting the tech go to waste, but it basically affirms what we've always thought, that Stadia was basically dead, and this just furthers that. The so-called white label of the brand could also see Google Stream make a deal with Peloton to bring game streaming to the fitness giants' indoor bikes and treadmills. So that's cool if you are a Peloton owner. Oh, here we go. So it doesn't sound like Stadia itself is being wound down just yet. As the report says, employees are still working on securing games for the platform, but exclusives would be out of the question, one source said, which, as we all know, without exclusives, you really don't have much to offer gamers. So Stadia is being rebranded instead of a gaming platform, more of a gaming service. So take that as it is. I don't know how they're going to do their pricing for this kind of stuff, if it's going to be included with your purchases or if you're just going to have access to it and the publishers pay the fees. But I know the biggest problem with Stadia was that it was a cloud service with a monthly fee, and you had to buy games at full price. If it was one or the other of those things, it might have worked. But the fact that it was both of those things, I think that's what really doomed it. And so we'll see what happens with this new what are they calling it? Google Stream.
Google Stream. Okay.
Yeah, Google Stream. We'll see what happens with Google Stream. You know, it's not unheard of to have virtual PCs out in the wild. I know there's even virtual VR PCs. If you don't have a capable VR PC, you can stream the VR to your headset.
Mhm.
So it's not unheard of to do this, and cloud PCs have been a thing since at least 20 years.
Since Jesus. Wow, that's a long time.
Since Jesus Christ was around. So yeah, that's all there is in cloud gaming news. This was the big news of the week for cloud gaming, is that Stadia is out, Google Streaming is in, and exclusive games are out. And now
I'm
it's
sure
up to
that
the
sounds like
publishers to
Google
bring
is
games
trying
to the
to
service.
resurrect itself.
Well, they do
It's definitely
that a
trying to
lot.
rebrand itself. We'll see how successful it is. It might join the hundreds upon hundreds of other Google projects in the Google graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't pick up on the joke.
Oh, sorry, no, I didn't. Resurrect itself. No, I guess I missed it.
I was like figuring I was gonna get that.
We need a soundboard.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah, like I mean, why would you play? I guess the question is, why would you play this then, or why would you take this over the other offerings of say Xbox with you know the X Cloud or whatever, and the, you know 40 or 50 different ways you can play it with that?
Because you're already invested. I think they're just trying to recruit money for the people who are already in.
Yeah.
The
all of the what? Because yeah, it was wasn't there a lot of crowdfunding with Stadia too?
no, there wasn't.
Early
Stadia
adopters
had a pre-order event where founders, that's what.
Yeah, the
Founders
Founders Edition paid a lot of money to get in on the ground level.
Yeah, but the Stadia to me just it counters what everybody's trying to do. You know, Xbox wants you to stay in their ecosystem. Sony wants you to stay in their ecosystem. Nintendo wants you to stay in their ecosystem. You know, they all have these walled gardens, if you will. And none of them really have, some of them do have open codes, but, you know, I can't foresee PlayStation saying, hey, you know, you can play these games on PlayStation Spartacus, but these ones you got to use Google Stream for. I don't see anybody allowing that. Maybe Nintendo, because they have terrible networks, but outside of Nintendo, I don't see PlayStation or Xbox, who offer their own cloud gaming solutions, to use this. So that's the way I see it. I don't think it's going to work too great. Unless they land Nintendo. I mean, if they can land Nintendo on a contract, they might be successful, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, even some kind of timed exclusivity could help. I mean, you just got to draw enough eyes to your platform for a certain extent of time.
Are out of the question, Noof.
You know, oh yeah. Come on, you got to wake up. That's how you get people in your ecosystem. You got to offer something that the competition doesn't. Otherwise, like I said, if every burger shop had the Big Mac, you know, like I don't understand. Like, you know, I know there's people that hate that word, the exclusive word, but it exists for a reason. That's how restaurants make their money. You know, having an exclusive product that you can't get anywhere else or doesn't taste the same anywhere else. You know, everybody, you know, yeah, so that's how it works, and it's no different. I mean, what when people say exclusive,
Whopper,
exclusives don't matter. But if that was the case, then why would all these streaming services, in terms of movies and stuff, why would they not? You know, they exist because of that. That's their whole point. You know, Disney paid big money to put stuff on their service that you are not going to get on the competition, and that's why people are subscribing to Disney right now. You know. And Paramount coming in hot now with the new Halo show. You think that isn't going to boost their subscriber service substantially? It is. Now, let's just hope that the show is good, because of my good friend, the Ash and Luca, if what she was saying the other day is how the show is woke and got some really stupid stuff going on, and I'm going to be dropping my subscription as fast as I pay for it. So, but I'll wait and see. I'll have to watch the show first and make my decisions. But please don't tell me Halo is now woke and trying to be a political garbage. Please do not touch it with a 10-foot pole. We don't need that shit. Okay, sorry, but anyway.
So Pixel Big G in the chat says Stadia will eventually become middleware for other devs, but won't be specific as a platform, I think. I agree with that statement, but once again, I just don't know how it will succeed without its own platform, because on the Xbox side, you don't need to code anything extra for your game to be cloud accessible. It just, Xbox does it for you. And Stadia is a Linux-based system, so it is not in the PC development models. You have to develop for Linux, and so as a developer, now you have to develop your game for another platform. Uh, I just don't know how Google expects this to function. I don't know who's calling the shots up there, but they definitely don't see that. Like, you know what developers want? Another platform, another dev kit for another platform to make their games work. I don't see it.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, they're really trying to bring this one back from the dead. It's it's a streaming version of a zombie. It just keeps coming. Shoot it in the brain. Kill it already, damn it.
Yeah, Google usually launches their different products, and then if it doesn't go like they want to, they will bring it down and might try to rebrand it and bring it back again. And then usually the second time around, if it doesn't work, then they just trash it. That's if it gets a second time around. I think this is kind of like what we were talking about with Microsoft earlier. They have a great idea. It was just the wrong timing. Google Stadia is a pretty great idea if there wasn't already Game Pass or xCloud. It was just they were maybe a year or two late. And I think that was the main problem. Folks were going to say, why you want me to do this when I have these other options? When you have all these other options, you come late to the party. That's what kind of makes it bad.
Yeah, like Google Stadia, the pricing was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The development, the dev
They had
kit
no games, yeah.
for another platform was wrong. But from what I hear, the streaming was great. But it didn't matter. It doesn't matter how great your streaming is if you don't make the pricing attractive to customers,
Yes.
or give them a killer app. I mean, switching topics here a little bit. Amazon has tried now twice to launch a killer app, and they have been unsuccessful in doing so. It's not that easy, guys, to make a killer app. So I think a lot of these guys just don't see that. Getting into this gaming world is tough. Gamers are fickle. We are.
Indeed.
Or, what's next? What's next? What's next?
Terry, you signing up for Google Stream? Shakes her head.
No.
I can't see her, but I believe you knew.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, she shook her head.
There you go.
Yeah, no. I didn't have interest in it when it was Stadia, and they can change their name. I still won't have interest.
Right.
Yeah.
They missed out, but paying full price for games as well that you can get in anywhere. It just was a amalgamation of just wrong decisions at the wrong time.
Some people keep saying they shouldn't hire Phil Harrison, was it? Because everywhere he goes, he turns everything to mush.
I think that guy has now done 3 console launches, and every console he's launched has kind of not been great. He was there for the PlayStation launch. I think he was there for the Xbox One launch, and now he was there for the Stadia launch, and all 3 of them have just kind of not launched too great.
He's the wrong type of Phil. Xbox got the good one.
I don't know how this guy keeps getting hired.
Hey, what's your track record? Driving companies into the ground. I'm your man. Let's go. Oh my God.
Do you want mediocre hype for your product with completely terrible messaging? I'm your guy.
It's amazing for the amount of really high paid people that these companies sometimes bring into a service, how far they miss the mark. It just flabbergasts me. Sometimes you just got to wonder, when you, like I said, your company can be successful when you let the gamer take over and tell you what gamers really want, or you let the corporate suit run the show and he just tells you how the money's supposed to flow. Big difference. The money flows when you first give people a product that they actually want, not the other way around. You don't tell your customer what they need. They tell you what they need. And that's the problem with these businesses. They try to think they're going to tell you what you need, and enforce it on you and try to bait you with probably a click cheap in and cheap out tactic. But look, I mean, someday streaming may be the norm. Maybe one of these days we have no consoles, and one of these days we'll look back and go, wow, these guys were so ahead of their time. That's a possibility, but we're not there yet. And that's the thing. If you're too far ahead of the curve, you can sink yourself. And if you're too far behind it, you can sink yourself. It's always a gamble, right? You have to play both sides of the fence up until you figure out where the audience sits and what they actually want. And I think a lot of that too should be through user polls and feedback and just seeing the trends, and that's the thing. It's always hard to predict the trend or follow it. I see it even in my line of work. It's just amazing. Like one day, a product sells out and you can't keep enough of them in the store. And the next freaking year, you couldn't give one away. You see that all the time. It's just amazing how stuff turns. And a lot of it's driven too, like I said, between social media and the new age marketing. It's certainly driven things differently.
I'm starting to think that Phil Harrison is the guy that determines the prices everywhere he goes, because for the PlayStation 3, it was $600. For the Xbox One, it was $500. And for Stadia, it was subscription plus full price games. Gamers will love it. Love it. I'm just trying to think that everywhere he goes, the pricing is wrong.
I like what Dreadpool says. I want to have Phil Harrison's promotion team. He tanks, but still gets hired with more money. Yeah, absolutely. It must be nice to be Phil Harrison and get that bonus. Yeah, let's go. Oh my God, crazy. But anyway, that's going to bring us to the show. Any final thoughts from any of the panel about anything, perhaps even things we forgot to discuss this morning? Won't keep anyone ever long. It's really good that Scrub was able to stay with us for the duration. Obviously, I hope your wife is going to feel better here, Scrub. But we thank you for staying.
Thank you. Yeah, she's. I think she'll pull through. It's just going to take some time.
Okay. All right, man. Well, hopefully everything is going well. We know it's been a turbulent few months for you in a whole lot of factors, but like I said, we are really fortunate and happy to have you as part of our panel. As all of our panel, hopefully Eternal Shaddai and Cerebral Paul are able to make it back next week. I know Cerebral was at least in the chat this morning. Shout out to him. Hopefully he gets back as well so we can get that wise old wisdom from Mr. Paul. All right, guys. Well, let's get ready to close the show. We'll start with the order of appearance, I guess, from the bottom to the top. We'll start with Mr. Axel1324. Let people know where they can find you and what is happening with you and your channel. That sort of stuff.
Yeah, everybody, you can find me, Axel1324 Gaming, on YouTube and on Twitch. On YouTube, I run the Iconic Video Games podcast with Doggy Dog 420 and Princess Zelda, where we only talk about the games, no services, no consoles. So we would not have been talking about acquisitions. We were just talking games. If you want to change your pace and just see a different podcast, tune in. We also play games with our chat. We really love to get you guys involved and care about your opinions. And also on Twitch, I stream every Saturday around 4 p.m. my time. So that's 5 p.m. Eastern. And I do a co-op game with my friends for about 2 hours. The other place you can find me is Axel1324 on Xbox and on Twitter. Be sure to follow me. That's all I got.
There you go, guys. Go check out Axel. I guarantee it's a fun little show. You won't regret it. Friday nights, a lot of fun, great commentary, lots of questions and interactivity with the chat. And Doggy Dog's in the house right now. Princess Zelda is there, as he mentioned. I didn't see her in the chat this morning, but she's probably sleeping, or maybe she's just putting up a Titan and all his damn Smite. God, that guy literally plays Smite as much as he says he does. Every time I turn on the Xbox, he's playing Smite again. Like, oh my God, what's up with that game? I might have to check it out just to see what all of the hoopla is. I don't know, crazy stuff. Let's get over to
a good game, but it's very, very hard to be good at it.
Well, he's pretty damn good at it.
Yes, it has a learning curve for sure.
Indeed. All right, Scrub Nerds, let people know what's happening with you, where they can check you out when you are not on Good Morning Xbox. I know you're part of another podcast as well, so fill us in on the details.
Hey, everybody. Glad to have y'all in here. We had a good show. We had good topics and good banner in the chat. You can find me on Twitter at ScrubNurse3. You can also find my gamer tag and join me on Xbox when I'm on if you want, Scrub Space Nurse. So I'm also got all my stuff and situated and parts of live together where I'm gonna start streaming again. So if you want, you can find me on Twitch at scrub_nurse. So we haven't put actual dates and times, but if you join me, you'll definitely see when I'm on. Usually playing with a couple of my buddies or just playing some solo games. So and then when I do have the time, which has kind of been rough because I'm back working a lot and I'm also drumming. So check out Gaming Beyond the Box on Wednesday nights, starting at 8 Central.
9, isn't it 9?
Yeah,
You start
9
Eastern.
Eastern.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty much it where you can find me right now. I definitely want to get back to streaming. That's always fun and interacting when I can. So that's some good stuff. It's some good outlet just to goof off, have a drink with a couple buddies. And I will be on Gaming After Dark this week with Noof in the panel. We're going to have some drinks. We're going to celebrate because it's going to be my birthday celebration. Just going to throw that out there too. So I'm going to be another year old. I'm not going to stress the word old, but another
You're
year.
25, right?
Yeah, 25 plus a lot more, but it's okay. So you guys check us out. We're going to have some fun. We're going to some jokes and people are going to say some naughty words.
Well, looking forward to having you on Gaming After Dark so you can really let loose. Well, I'll find out about what Scrub Nurse is all about. Good times, guys. Good times. Looking forward to that podcast. Shout out to Crazy Lou. He was there last week. My God, he literally is crazy. Nutso. Guy wearing a jock strap on his head to start the show. And then he brought in a character called Fifilina. Yeah, he's hilarious, man. He's a good guy, especially when he used to go, "Woo!" I don't know if you missed it or not, but it's definitely worth checking it out. And Safe House Sam, boy, he was on something else last week. Unbelievable. I think he he could have done the whole show. He was just right up there and going, let me tell you. Before we close out the show, let's let Cool Cat Terry do her outro, let people know what's happening. I know she's getting closer to getting back to her normal status of things. I'm sure she's excited to get out of the dank gray room with the bike in the background and get back to the regular podcasting and all that stuff. Terry, what's up?
All right, yeah. So I'm like Noob said, I'm in the process of moving. I'm slowly moving in. I have to do some upkeep with the house. All very bright pastel spring colors in the house, and I can't have it. So I'm in the process of getting rid of the lilac and the yellow and all the brightness. It's too much for me. But otherwise, you guys can catch me over on Twitch during the week, 6 p.m. to midnight Eastern time. I play a bunch of different things. I've been kind of on the simulator kick lately, so I've been playing a lot of that stuff. And then you can catch me on my podcast, Just a Glimpse. I upload, it premieres on YouTube every Sunday at noon Eastern time, so you guys can wake up in the morning, start off with Good Morning Xbox with breakfast, and then go ahead and jump over and listen to Just a Glimpse for lunch. So it's good stuff. Check that out. And then you can catch me over on Twitter at coolcat_Terry.
Indeed. Go check out her content. Ladies and gents, always good to support the ladies of our community. Like I said many, many times, there's not enough of them, and they certainly don't get the accolades they deserve. So keep plugging away. And yeah, speaking of plugs, time for me to do my outro. Here we go. It's Noof Nukem. You'll find me just about everywhere or anywhere at Noof Nukem. And obviously on Tuesday nights, Gaming After Dark with Titan Drago. And we are still in the search for our next panel member, but it's going to be some time in the making. We are going to take our time with it and make sure that whoever we finally choose, if they're willing, that is just the perfect fit, that so to speak. And when I'm not on that podcast, I'm right here with Good Morning Xbox and this fantastic panel of people, and obviously community game nights on Saturday. I haven't decided what the games will be for this week, but hopefully we'll manage to get a nice turnout come Saturday night. I'll keep you posted throughout Twitter throughout the week. We got one more super chat coming in from our good friend Splendiferous, $2. Sick this weekend, man. Feeling terrible, but I was here. Well, Splend, we definitely recognized you in the chat. Thank you for that. And we
Thank
hope
you.
that you're feeling better. I know there's a lot of people feeling under the weather. Jesse Darby, shout out to you, man. See, he lost his job in the chat earlier. So our thoughts are with you. I know it sucks. It's a bad feeling, but sometimes, you know what, when the dust settles, you realize sometimes losing a job is a blessing in disguise. It just leads you to bigger, better things. And, you know, you can refocus and get your life back on track, but it's always a tough transition. And, you know, when you don't know what's going to happen in your life, the insecurities and stuff like that, it really sucks. So best of luck to you. Shout out to Spooky Sprocket, who is up and at 'em and getting better by the day, guys. Look forward to seeing him back in the chats. I've seen him around a few of the podcasts. It's good to see our brother Spooky up and at 'em and getting back to his old self. It's going to take some time, but good shout out to him. And to everybody that's been in the chat today, my good buddy Free Jack and Graphic God and Doggy Dog, of course. You're always here, brother. Support and greatly appreciate Ice Queen Gaming. You know, Casket Repair, what's going on? Lost Forever. We see all you guys in here. Thank you so much. Crispy Rambo. Thanks for coming out, everybody. It means the world to us. We'll see you again, hopefully next week. And don't forget, to all those who watch this on the replay or catch it later on, thank you again. Please leave a like and a subscribe. And we hope you like what you heard, what you see, and we'll be back again, and hopefully a full panel next week. Take care, everybody. Have a great Sunday, and see you next week.
See
Bye,
ya.
everybody.